Very good evening. Warm welcome to yet another edition of the Democratic Newsroom. I'm Preeti Choudhry. We have our August house full of editors right here. And the moot point this evening. Well, in the last two speeches, the Prime Minister made a very clear reference to what he said. It's time that we shed the Macaulay mindset. Are we truly suffering from a colonial hangover, or is it just kickstarting yet another political debate? Let's take it from here. Joining me, consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai. I have Gaurav Sawant. I have Maria Shakid. Will soon be joined by Kamlesh, our special guest this evening. But Rajdeep, would you want to start the proceedings?
Very happily, and I will speak in the language of Macaulay, which is English, because we are in an English channel. I hope my friend Gaurav Sawant will also do so, since he went to Stephens, which is another symbol of the Macaulayan mindset. Look, the Prime Minister has every right to suggest that Macaulay promoted a colonial mindset through his minutes. There is little doubt also in my mind that Lord Macaulay consciously sought to cultivate an Indian elite that he believed would be loyal to the Raj. But please understand, that is 19th century India. We are in the 21st century, where to my mind, English language is today a symbol of aspiration and not of subjugation or slavery or colonialism. So I think we are being a tad hypocritical here at one level to preach suddenly about this Macaulayan mindset when almost every minister in Prime Minister Modi's government sends their children to private English-speaking schools, or if possible, sends them to elite American universities. I can give you a list of them, more than half a dozen. So frankly, I think this Macaulay versus Bharatiyata divide you're creating is a red herring. The real question to me, Preeti, is what are the kind of values that the young are imbibing today, whatever language they learn in, are they, or whatever cultural values they imbibe. What are they wedded to? Spirit of tolerance, diversity, religious pluralism, or a worldview shaped by majoritarianism, illiberalism, hatred and division? Which is why, rather than turn to a quotation from Prime Minister Modi, allow me to quote the greatest Indian, also a Gujarati from the 21st century, someone whose life and times, importantly, was shaped both by ancient Indian wisdom and by the European Enlightenment and part of his English and a certain Anglicization, which is Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi says, and I quote today, "I do not want my house to be walked on all sides and my windows to be stuffed. I want the culture of all, I repeat, all lands, to be blown about my house as freely as possible, but I refuse to be blown off my feet by any." So I suggest, rather than create this debate between Modi versus Macaulay, please make the great Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi your role model.
On that note,
and I think India will be in a better place.
Can I call Kamlesh, who's late and is joining us? Come, Kamlesh, please have a seat.
Please
Thank
come,
you.
Kamlesh.
Thank you for joining us.
Please come.
You know, for another one thing, what used to be so much fun and extempore, which was the Democratic Newsroom, everyone has notes now.
No, not notes. That is very wrong.
You have just read off from that.
No, that's a very wrong
Gaurav
thing.
has notes in English, not in Hindi or Sanskrit, but Gaurav, over to you.
Sure. So, Rajdeep's thinking is flawed when he thinks diversity, liberalism, pluralism are European concepts that he talks of, that, this is what comes from Europe. No, it doesn't. This is the classic Macaulay mindset that India has to fight. Democracy is not a Western concept. Pluralism is not a Western concept. Diversity is not a Western concept. In fact, Bharat is the Desh which welcomed people from across the world at all times, and they were safest in India, even of Islam. All the 72, factions or people who follow different sects of Islam, everyone is safe only in India, nowhere else. Shias and Sunnis are not safe in Pakistan, not safe any other country, only safe in India.
So can I ask you that?
No, hold on, let me finish.
No, 1 minute.
You made several points.
Allow him to
several
finish.
points.
Allow him to finish.
You made several
Everyone
points.
here.
Please finish. Please finish. My
so
apologies.
Diversity is Bharat ka DNA. So let's get out of that Macaulay mindset. When we read more about ourselves, we know, we just covered elections in Bihar, all of us together. Vaishali is the Janani of democracy in Bharat. But let me not just talk about Bihar as Janani of democracy. When you talk about astronomy, Aryabhat, there is a place, young Maria will know, she's from Bihar. Patna ke paas, there's a railway station called Taragan. Right? Taragan railway station. 2009, NASA said the best place to study solar eclipse, longest solar eclipse of 21st century, is in Taragan in Bihar. You know what exists there? 476 AD. 476 AD, Aryabhat had his laboratory to study astronomy in that place called Taragan.
I agree with you.
No,
No,
so
do we
even know where we were? You know,
Sir,
Yes.
1 minute.
Yes.
You're listing the virtues of ancient civilizational of our heritage. I agree with you entirely. But you must also answer when you speak about diversity, pluralism, for God's sake, centuries in this country, Manuvadi mindsets rule. Forget about Macaulay, untouchability, the caste system,
Varna
the most
system,
pernicious system that existed. You forget about that. Let anyone who talks about the Macaulay mindset first address the Manuvadi mindset that existed.
Macaulay did nothing to address that Manuvadi.
What are you talking?
They
Jyotirao
only
Phule
encouraged
brothers, decades
Let him
after,
finish, I'll
were
come.
benefited
Okay,
from the movement of
Rajdeep.
social
Okay,
emancipation.
Kamlesh,
not a
What are
product
you
of
very
talking?
spirited
They are not
Democratic
product of
Newsroom,
Macaulay.
but make your
They
point.
were a product of an enlightenment
Rajdeep,
that
allow
came in the
Kamlesh
second
to
half
have.
of the 19th
Rajdeep,
century. He must
Rajdeep.
not talk falsehoods.
Not Macaulay.
Let him finish and then I'll go to...
Enlightenment is
So
not.
where is your Manuvadi mindset? Talk about that instead of Macaulay. Start talking about Manu first. Wake up to Manu
Who
and what
follows
Manu
Manu?
did to this society for hundreds of years.
Okay, Rajdeep,
Who
one
follows
second. Allow
Manu and
him.
who follows Macaulay? 70 years, 77 years after independence, we are discussing Macaulay as if he lives.
So please
That-
discuss
that
untouchability.
host-
Discuss
that
caste
host
Okay,
discrimination.
Rajdeep,
stays
allow...
here.
Rajdeep, one second. Allow him to...
Why?
Please go ahead.
Why are you even discussing it?
It's a diversion.
Prime Minister said that there is a mindset. What mindset is there? He gave you this English language, right? This is a big point. English is the worst language to learn, but it is because of the misfortune, maybe, that the British ruled you, that you know English. It is the worst, most unscientific language, but we know it, and
But
there
it's
is
your
a culture
passport
of
to the
English.
world.
What is wrong in it?
It's your passport to your world.
And what
It's
did
your
he
social
do?
currency.
He tried to suppress your knowledge,
Yes.
right? That's the only accusation that you have, or the biggest. But he was supposed to be he was a colonial guy.
Yeah.
He wanted to rule you. He has left.
No, but how did
Now
you
you
suppress
build your own
Kamlesh,
education
may I
system
ask
by
you,
building
mindset.
language.
Kamlesh, may I ask you, how
One
did he
second, then I'm
suppress
coming to
your
Maria.
knowledge? All the great freedom fighters from Tilak to Gokhale to Agarkar, from Maharashtra to Mahatma Gandhi to many others also studied in the regional languages, and they brought out newspapers like Maratha and Kesari, and they would also study English. We are a plural, we are a symbol of genuine
But-
coexistence.
but he
So
was-
why make this Macaulay versus Bharatiya?
Because
That's
he
my
wa-
point.
he
Because
wanted a
Macaulay actually
useful
imposed the
bunch
cultural
of-
inferiority.
Yes.
He
He
wanted
did
a
impose
useful
that
bunch
because
of
he
Indians
famously
who could do
dismissed-
their
Okay, one by
clerical
one.
jobs.
Okay, Kamlesh.
Because
Okay, one second,
Macaulay
Maria.
dismissed Indian knowledge as worthless. I remember that quote, and I have that here written, Preeti, and I'm going to quote from my notes. A single shelf of a good European library worth all native literature. There was that shame instilled in heritage or indigenous, the what we stand for. Remember, at that time, he had directed the entire East India Company rupees from Arabic and Sanskrit printing to English. That kind of suppression did happen.
Absolute rubbish
Mentally, it
stuff,
continues
no.
in your mindset even
It
today.
is about
That's
the
the tragedy,
psychological
Rajdeep.
slavery.
That
That
is
is
what
what
we
Prime
need
Minister
to-
is
we need to
highlighting.
You
battle.
feel
How?
psychologically enslaved? No,
How?
1 minute.
How?
A Stephanian, does a
don't.
Stephanian like you feel
How?
psychologically
My
enslaved?
Hindi is excellent.
So
I'm
what
so
is your-
proud of
Your
it.
notes are in
I'm
English.
so proud of
Your
it.
notes are in
My
English.
notes are-
Your
because
child
I'm
studies
on
in an-
English.
your child
My,
studies in an English
my,
medium
my
school.
notes right now I'm on India
Your
Today.
child
It's in
studies-
English.
your
When
child
I
studies-
anchor on Aaj Tak, my notes are in
no,
Your
Hindi.
child
I'm
studies in
as
a,
good as
your
you are.
child
I'm asking
studies in
something
an
else.
You know
English
what
medium
is
school.
happening here, Preeti? We keep on saying that we are Indian in blood, but when it is about the taste, we are English in taste. That is where the problem is.
I'm not.
And that's
Who
where
is?
the slavery
Who is? So-
mindset
Okay,
comes
let's
in.
go
That
one
is
by
more or
one.
less
Kamlesh, you start
gone.
again.
Well
Yes.
said.
It's done.
Well said.
Kamlesh
Yes.
starts.
We are no longer a slave to the
You
mentality.
pick here.
I agree with
Exactly.
you.
Okay.
A lot of us in our country still look for
How many?
Western ratification.
Yes,
Oh,
validation.
mera article New York Times mein chapa. Wow. No, sir. Our papers are better. Our thinking is better, and
May
we are
not
not
be.
slaves of their intelligence
This is a
agencies.
Macaulay mindset, by
This
the way,
is
to
the
say
Macaulay
that ours
mindset.
is better and theirs is worse.
No,
Well said
no,
again.
it
Well
is,
said.
it
Yeah, I
is
agree.
in my view, because look, the amount of free speech and debate that we have, they don't.
We are different. We are different. But not better or worse.
We debate extensively. Point one. Point two. Can I also tell you one thing? You know, when everyone talks, and since your son's into medicine, you know, 6th century BC, you had Sushrut Samhita, and Sushrut Samhita had 1200 plus kinds of surgeries, anesthesia कैसे देना है, cataract कैसे करना है, skin grafting कैसे करनी है, all of that truly documented in India, right?
What's the
We have
point,
that
Gaurav?
knowledge.
What is the point?
Oh, only today Western medicine is good. Only what is taught by the
What do you
West is
are you
good.
taking? Do you how do you take an antibiotic?
No, I do
you
not.
don't.
And
You don't
know
take
I do
antibiotics
not.
at all.
And you know that more than
No,
anybody
actually
else.
I don't. But you
Oh,
don't
you
take.
don't? Fine.
You don't take antibiotics at all.
I don't take medicines if I can help it. I'm very,
that's
very,
all of us who takes medicines if they can help
so I
it.
believe in holistic medicine. I believe in
Who doesn't?
Ayurveda.
Everyone has a
I believe
cup
in
of ginger
Ayurveda.
tea.
So
Everyone-
I believe in Ayurveda.
We should stop using this
So-
phrase, Western medicine.
So-
It's medicine and there are
Medicine.
not
Yeah,
medicine.
it's allopathy.
Sure.
That's it.
So
That's it.
allopathy, for example.
Or even
Medicines-
Ayurveda is medicine.
Medicines come from everywhere.
Sure. So, the aim is when you go traditional, when you try and gain more traditional knowledge,
Okay.
then there's a vaster pool.
All right,
Now,
let's-
when-
let's go
when
one-
English
Has my friend
language,
Gautam,
Okay,
when
one
English-
second.
no, no, 1 minute,
Rajdeep,
man.
yeah, I'm
No,
coming.
he
No,
just
Gaurav,
read.
you've had- no,
Has my
Rajdeep.
friend Gaurav Sawant ever read the great Ambedkar? Have you ever read where Ambedkar embraced many of the values you just now said, the social reform and all is not a product of the Macaulayan mindset? I don't want to use the word Macaulayan mindset at all. But there was an enlightenment process that benefited the likes of one of the greatest, if not after Mahatma Gandhi, according to me, the second greatest Indian of the 20th century was the great B.R. Ambedkar. Where did they learn their values?
that has
Education.
impacted
They
the
learned it
entire
from
world.
Macaulay.
One by one.
One minute,
Please,
one minute.
one
They
by
learned
one.
it from Macaulay.
No, 1 minute. They embrace, just a minute. That's why I said I don't want to use the word Macaulayan mindset. I want to use the word values. There are values that come through enlightenment movement. There are values that come through our ancient civilization. We must embrace the positive
Rajdeep, have you
and we
ever
must
heard
shun
of
the negative.
Have you
If
heard
we-
of Swami Dayanand
No, no,
Saraswati?
of course I have.
you heard of Swami
And the
Dayanand
Yes.
Saraswati? Have you heard
Haryana.
of Arya Samaj?
Yes.
1 minute.
Yeah. So it is not that Macaulay said, remove caste
One
system in
second.
India.
The problem
Swami-
was
One
when
second,
one
1 second.
language was prioritized over others.
No, who
That's
said-
where the issue began.
1 minute, 1 minute. You're saying as a result of the prioritization of one
Yes.
language over the others, there was an erosion of India's ancient heritage.
Exactly.
Yes.
That
okay.
was the aim.
My
That
point
was
is,
the agenda.
My point is though, what is matters more to me are the values. Whatever language they are
can I-
taught in,
That
Can
the
I,
agenda
can I,
values should
can I,
matter.
can I,
even
can I get in a word in here?
Of course, your
English.
show.
I wish. English is the biggest skill set that we Indians have. It's a passport. Of
No,
course it
no,
is.
no, no, no,
Of
Preeti.
course it is.
Absolutely
Today,
not the
if
biggest skill
it
set.
is the
Very important
international
skill set.
biggest skill set that
Important,
Indians
but not
have.
the biggest.
One by one, one by one.
Am I allowed to? Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
it is
angry.
one of the biggest skill sets that as Indians that we have. It's a passport to the world. It is our currency. It
To
is
be
the reason.
clerks in the world.
It is a clerk.
If
No,
we-
no. Who's a
if we-
clerk?
you
Who's
know,
who heads
you
Google
know,
today?
so-
What are you saying?
No,
What are you saying on the
they
basis of
wouldn't have
what?
been able to head Google had they
Not
gone through
no,
Hindi
no.
education?
If he knew
Look
only
at the
Sanskrit,
Chinese,
no.
look at the Japanese,
If he
look
knew-
at the Koreans.
Is there a
In their
Chinese?
own language,
Is there
they're
a
doing
Chinese
so well.
speaking? Tell me, is there somebody who's
So
only
you want
speaks
to
in
go
Chinese?
for individual cases? I'm going in for societies
What
as
does your
a whole
child?
doing
What
better.
does your child
Chinese
study
economy,
in?
Korean
Does
study,
your daughter?
Chinese language.
Does your
Korean
daughter study in a
language,
Hindi medium
Japanese
school,
language.
Gaurav?
So it's
Does your daughter
bring
study in a Hindi
everybody
medium?
along.
Answer this question.
Bring every.
Answer
this
this
is not
question.
about my daughter.
It
this
is
should
about-
be
it's
about Bharat's
about-
daughters. Daughters in Bihar. Daughters in
Bharat's
Kerala.
daughters
Let
need
them
to-
all grow.
Bharat's
Let them
daughters
all
need to
grow.
have a
Not
passport
just
to the
one.
world.
Can I-
Preeti, my
Okay,
issue
I'm
is
good.
Yeah, please go ahead.
that English, yes, it's the passport, but it should not be coming at the cost of sidelining local languages.
Which
No,
is
but
exactly
that's
what is
how-
happening.
No, no,
Of
but
course,
I can
what
I-
happened? That's what
77
it-
years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why are you paying that cost?
Because for 77 years that Macaulay mindset
Can
existed
I-
in our
can I
country.
for a moment?
Macaulay,
Today,
the
by the
British
way,
may have
Maria,
gone,
I just
but
wanna-
the British
Maria,
created
today-
a ruling
One
elite
second, Gaurav.
that had
Gaurav,
the
let's
same
get
mindset.
everybody in.
That was true for the maybe first 10, 15 years.
Was it true only for the first 10, 15 years?
Why are we against
wasn't
progress? We have moved forward a long,
Of
long
course
way.
we have, but we could have gone even further, taking the
One
entire
second, I'm
country
gonna, okay,
along
Maria,
and not just tier
Maria,
1
you
cities,
say one,
tier 2, tier
okay.
3, tier 4.
Maria,
everyone
Maria, you
must
say
let others
English
speak
has
now.
been prioritized at the cost of local languages. Today, there are many states that actually feel that Hindi is being prioritized at the cost of local languages. So, this is a widespread debate.
Brain drain for, at the cost of rural. I mean, when we say culture, tradition, that has to be withheld. Your roots
How
are
is
your
it not?
priority and then only you can grow. That's my understanding.
is it not?
So
I think
addition
India's a
in terms of
classic case.
Can I
English
make-
or further
I think
languages is all
subscribing
right.
to a Macaulay
Can I-
mindset is to say imperialism was great, which it wasn't, is to denounce imperialism. It's to say that Macaulay mindset would say that the Britishers did the best thing for us. It's to
Can I-
denounce that.
It
but
is
yet
about shunning
embrace
that colonial
Okay,
mindset.
make
Can
your
I,
point.
can I
Make
for
your
a
point.
moment?
Yes.
You see, it's not just about language. It's about, I repeat again, it's about
Exactly.
values. Please understand. You had pernicious practices like sati.
Exactly.
Right? You had practices where women simply, and we still see it in some
Varna
parts of this
system.
country. We still see
Just in
we-
this country,
one
it
minute,
happened
one minute,
across
just-
the world.
sir, one
In
minute.
our country,
now,
it's
you
highlighted.
must allow-
Gaurav,
you must allow me to
now,
complete.
let's go one by
Caste
one.
prejudice. The sheer inequality on the grounds of gender. None of this, according to, and therefore the debate is not about Macaulay mindset versus Bharatiyata. I repeat, it's about embracing the best of the West and the best of the East. Now, you could argue that the manner in which Lord Macaulay tried to create a colonial elite meant that some of the Indian
Yes.
speakers felt inferior. We are talking about India in the 19th century. I am a proud Indian in 2025. I don't have a colonial mindset when I speak in English or when I embrace the values
come from
of
privilege.
equality of gender.
You come from privilege.
Yes, so I
Look
come
at
from.
the-
Just
look
a
at the
minute,
person
just
who
a
comes
minute.
from Bihar.
Yes.
Can I get,
Look at the
And
person
he
who comes
also-
from
both of you,
Karnataka.
let's
And
stop.
he or she
Rajdeep
also-
and Gaurav, now let
And
me
he
get
or
come
she,
later.
he or she also wants to learn English for
It's
his children
aspirational.
because it's aspirational. Go ahead.
Your point about enlightenment and its values is valid, but it is that has been a global thing. It's not, nobody has restricted us, especially, to adopt those values. Whatever is good there, we have embraced and we have learned from it. And of course, we have problems, but they had the luxury by just exploiting our resources. They
Yes.
Their 7 generations can afford
Of course,
that
that's
life and enlightenment.
No, but we are talking about, I'm asking you, India in 2025.
We were left high, they left us high and dry. We managed not just to survive, but to thrive. And we can't now start blaming that we have this Macaulay
Exactly.
mindset that is coming in our way to progress.
It's a diversionary
It
tactic
is
because
not.
you are unable. The
It is
real issues
not.
of this day, I would want the Prime Minister of the country to address the issues of unemployment. I want the, how are you going to
no,
provide...
but he's doing that.
No, he's not.
He's only
no,
talking
those,
about this.
those are the issues, I believe. Rather than go
Okay.
back to the past to 19th century, I think the Prime Minister has more to offer by focusing on the issues of the 21st
Okay, so
century.
hard cut. I'm
Macaulay
going to give
mindset
everyone.
remains even
I am going to
today.
give
You know,
everyone a
English
minute and a
is
half to
considered
put
the
their
Prime
point
Minister
forward.
talk about
I
these
am
things.
going to give
Macaulay
everyone.
mindset
Okay,
and
one
all that,
second, Kamlesh.
because for
Kamlesh, hard
employment
cut.
and
One
other things, it
second.
should work.
Okay, I'm going to give everyone 1.5 minutes to put your point forward without interruption. Please accord the same privilege to the person sitting next to you and not interrupt them. Maria, please go ahead.
So English became gateway to jobs and status, yes, but it came at the cost of sidelining local knowledge. That's the sentiment. Yes, people, those who went to St. Stephen's or maybe, journalists like us who are becoming the voice of the English speakers may not be reflecting the real India in many ways also, Preeti. There is an India in Bihar and in rural parts of India which wants to retain its rural tradition and culture, and English should be along with other languages. It cannot be the language. Yes, it's a language of aspiration, but don't undermine or belittle those who speak in their own languages.
Okay, go ahead, Gaurav.
So, when you and Rajdeep believe English is aspirational, that's exactly what Macaulay wanted, and that mindset that exists even today, that you speak English, you'll get more salary, you'll get more jobs, you'll get more avenues to grow. That should not be the case. And that is why the change that is happening now, you take your entrance examination in your
Hindi.
own language,
Native
your
language.
regional language. That is how most of Bharatvarsh will grow. It is not just people living in tier 1 cities going to public schools who will have access to better education, better facilities and better avenues. Learn your own language and grow in that, and then get the West to come to you. That is where, you see, your traditional knowledge meant the world was coming to you for knowledge. You had the Takshashila, you had the Nalanda, that was destroyed by, whether it's Islamic invaders once, whether it was the British subsequently, your systems were decimated, and that is why you became subservient. The Prime Minister's effort is, we now regain our glory through our
It's
systems.
reclaiming.
Reclaiming
But
it.
if you're going to limit it to languages, Gaurav,
It is
then
not limited to
allow
language.
Me,
I
did
spoke of
interrupt?
science. I spoke of science.
Did
I spoke of
interrupt?
medicine.
You
I
are right
spoke of
now.
healthcare,
You're right now.
navigation,
Gaurav,
astronomy.
Gaurav, right now you were speaking of language. So
No,
I think
when I
where-
spoke of Aryabhat,
allow-
it wasn't language.
Right now,
when I spoke
Gaurav,
of navigation, it wasn't language.
Gaurav, would
need
you
to
allow
widen
anyone to
your
get a
horizon,
word? Yeah,
because
the
I am
fact
trying
is
to
you
speak
talk
on multiple
about,
issues.
Gaurav, you talk about language right now, but if we are going to limit, if we are just right now talking about language
not.
per se, which you did
No, we are
right
not.
now,
No.
then the world is already coming to us.
Medicine.
We speak better English
Medicine.
than the English
Science.
themselves. We
Astronomy.
are a conduit of this language across the
Shipbuilding.
world. Better than China, better
Metallurgy.
than Japan. People
Our
come
metallurgy
to us.
was the best in the
One
world.
second.
6th
You know, Gaurav,
century AD.
you've been
Our
interrupting two and
metallurgy
three.
was
Go
the
ahead.
best in
You
the
know, he has
world.
decided to hijack the debate,
That's-
which
it's
is
just
okay.
you're not allowing anyone
but
to
you
talk.
had said we would get 1.5 minute
You will.
uninterrupted.
Go ahead.
So let's get it uninterrupted. First of all, many of the Indian nationalists across the political spectrum, from left to right, learned from Macaulay in the sense that many of them went through English education, many of them went abroad. Some of the greatest Indians of their time went abroad, but they also used that language and the values they brought to give it back to the English. Let's understand that. And this happened in the late 18th and early 19th century and eventually brought us freedom. Even great Parsis, because Parsis were seen as part of the colonial elite. But remember the great Dadabhai Nauroji, who first exposed the manner in which India was being ravaged by the British. That is what you want. You learn from them and then
You
give
call
it
them
back
out.
to them.
Call them
and
out.
call them out. Now the challenge is in the 21st century to me to create an education system that is neither slavishly Western. You cannot be slavishly Western, but not defensively insular as well. As I said, I quoted to you Gandhi, let all these ideas blowing through my window. I will not be swept away from it. Why should we be so, concerned in the 21st century ki wo Macaulay mindset ne hame, we should be proud of who we are. India's greatest asset, I repeat, is its pluralism. It's religious pluralism, it's linguistic pluralism. Look at the works that are being done across languages in this country. Sitting here, you think English has a dominance. I will take you to Tamil Nadu, see some of the finest works in books that are being done. So, the truth of the matter is the real debate is not Macaulay versus Modi, it is pluralism versus those who want to homogenize this country.
Rajdeep,
Like my
okay.
friend
Came from
Kamlesh.
India. Parsis survived because they
Okay,
came
Gaurav,
to
you've
India.
done your time. Yeah, Kamlesh,
English.
1.5 minutes.
You have English and consider it a gift. It is no longer the language of the crown. It is a recognized language of India.
It's an Indian
We speak
language.
it in our own way. It connects us with the rest of the world. It's a good thing. Now come to Macaulay. Macaulay was a British officer. He was serving the crown. He, in his wisdom, did things that obviously was not in our interest. But now that we are free of their rule, we have been ruling ourselves for a long, long time. Whether somebody studies in English medium, to be honest, if his daughter goes to English medium, it's fine.
Yes.
But if she went to Hindi medium school, that
was
would be
fine
fine
too.
too.
Yeah.
That's how we have to think. Now, all the metallurgy and Sushruta and all that you have
We
said.
don't have that knowledge today, unfortunately. That
Exactly,
metallurgy,
exactly.
it was destroyed.
So admit it.
That
we
pluralism
have,
that
have
Rajdeep
lost it.
speaks of
We have to now
is
move on with
originally
the
our
world.
Allow him to
There
say-
is
give
no
him
way
that 1
that we
minute.
can
If we
go
have time, I'll
back
come
to
back.
our glorious days. Since we can't go back to our glorious past, we must go to whatever glory
better
there is in the
future.
future.
Okay, Gaurav,
Well
because
said.
he speaks very
Too good.
passionately, I will give you 30 more seconds, Gaurav, even though he's spoken most of this
Why?
debate. Go. Sir, he's so passionate about this debate today. Go
No,
ahead,
he's not
make your
passionate.
point.
According to me,
I'll give you 30 minutes,
it's
also
a
30
stage
seconds.
performance.
But
He-
you are passionate about pluralism.
No, I hope. I hope.
You know,
no,
pluralism
I hope,
that
no, I
Rajdeep
hope
speaks of when
Okay,
Rajdeep
yeah.
says
Okay, this is-
Parsis are safe
No,
in
no one
India.
talking each
It's
other.
not
No,
because
this
of that
is-
Western concept. Parsis are safe in India because India
Where is the
was
part-
Who is
always
talking
will
about
remain.
that thing not
This is the only
safe?
place
Always
they
will
are.
remain. Exactly.
So who is saying- okay.
Safe, plural, democratic, diverse, everything is traditional Indian concepts, did not come from the West.
Yeah,
and I hope you also accept that caste prejudice also came in
Came
this
here,
country.
Varna
So
system.
start accepting the
was
darker
forced by
side.
the West. Was
Forced-
forced
Varna
by
system,
outsiders.
Varna system was forced by the
Varna
West.
system,
Was forced
Varna
by the
system
West.
in India, it was your work and not your birth.
Barutedari
It
system?
was outsiders who enforced it
You're,
by
you're,
birth.
you're actually telling
Please
us
do
was
not
forced by the
defend the
West.
indefensible.
Caste
it
system,
was-
Varna
you
system
know,
wasn't
yeah,
forced by
Varna
the
by
West.
We
outsiders.
really do not know
By
anything about it.
outsiders,
Kya
you know,
kar rahe
it's
ho?
Sorry, we'll end it at here.
Varn
We'll end it
Vyavastha.
at
here. Lost it today.
Varn Vyavastha
We do
was
not
your
know
work.
how it happened.
Your
But
Kshatriya
it is-
Brahman
Clearly not
Vaishya.
forced-
but it
by
is
the
what
West.
it is.
But
It is
clearly
there.
not
Brahman
enforced
Vaishya
by the
Shudra,
West in
whatever
India.
caste you were was your work in
Okay,
the
you know,
Vedic system.
We'll carry
Acha.
forward this debate.
You know,
I see. So
okay.
carpenter's child could only remain a carpenter.
All right, okay, what I'm going to do is let's...
It provides them economic security.
Wow. No, but that cannot be the basis of a
Business.
progressive society, for
Business.
God's sake.
The
We did
same
not have
farmer,
colleges then.
Everyone
Arre,
talks
theek
over
hai
each
yaar.
other, nobody hears.
the same farmer would pick up
Kamlesh,
the sword
okay, Gaurav,
and become
now,
a
Gaurav,
soldier.
30
He would be
seconds are
accepted.
given you. Gaurav, you're talking over people.
All the caste, this casteism is based on business. If you know the names of the caste,
It was
you know
regressive.
It was
Occupation.
regressive now, but at that time it
So that's
provided
exactly what I'm
economic
saying.
security.
That's why I'm saying let's
Your
have this
business
debate,
did not move out of
which
your
is why I'm saying,
household.
if you turn the clock
But
back
it
to
was
the
not a
fourth-
good thing.
Sir, if you turn the clock back to 4th and 5th century, then I will also turn the clock back.
It's
Simple.
a horrible practice.
Agreed.
Or inequality,
But we have come a
gender
long way.
inequality.
Of course we have,
We
but
have
we-
almost defeated it.
Sir, but you don't
But
want to talk
not
about
because of
India
Macaulay.
2025. He wants to talk about
Not,
India of
not
the
about
4th century.
Macaulay. Not because
Well,
of
I think
Macaulay.
after this heated debate, Macaulay is clearly turning in his grave. We are going to leave it.
No, let him turn there. He can turn.
We
That's
can-
okay.
we can leave
We
it
don't
at
care
that.
about Macaulay. We
Yeah,
care about
that's
India.
true. Nobody
He
really
can
cares
very well
about
do it.
Macaulay
It's
anymore.
Swami Dayanand Saraswati
Nobody cares
who brought
about
a lot of
Macaulay
reforms.
anymore.
So it's
We're going to
Dayanand
leave it
Saraswati.
There
at
are
that.
many,
I thank
many.
you. I
Dayanand
thank
Saraswati
all
was a
of you
local
for
reformer.
joining us. I think after a very long time, we've had such a
Heated.
tremendous heated debate. We're going to leave it at that. Thank you for joining us.